I hope they don't make you play Rainbow Road too much on them on Mario Kart because that is one of the most difficult ones in the entire game. But that's what I make my friends play all the time, and they I get so much heat for that. But so stepping away from football during your time in Detroit, like I just mentioned, not only did you and your wife you guys got married and started a family, you spent time at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit doing research. Tell me, how did that come? How did that come to be, and what did you actually research that ultimately got published?
Yeah, so that came to be from a number of different things. One of them mainly I was going to go to medical school when I was done playing. So I started looking for ways to continue to beef up my resume, right? To say, okay, how do I maintain my resume as leading up to medical school, right? I want to go to medical school. How am I gonna do this, right? How am I gonna still get to go to medical school and I'm done? Well, one of the ways I can do research. Also, I'd been on injury reserve that year, so I was already kind of had my break. You know what I mean? So I didn't really feel like I needed like a big long break in the off season. I wanted to jump right into something. And I knew I was going to have a lot of time. So that, hey, well, research is something I did a little bit of in my undergraduate. I can do this again. Reached out to my team physician who got me in contact with someone in the Henry Ford Hospital Research Division, and they were able to give me an opportunity to work with Dr. Firewalters and Kevin Gordish up there in their lab, and able to get a lot of good work done. And I mean, lab assistant, Mean Woo, and we had a lot of fun together. Got a lot done. Sorry, Mean Woo was in Dr. Rossi's lab. Excuse me, got her confused. She's in Dr. Rossi's lab, not Dr. Firewalters. She was the year later. But we did a study on rats, studying a high fructose corn syrup in the diet and measuring blood pressure via tail cuff, and was able to see a pretty extreme jump in high blood pressure. I think it was an average of 10 millimeters of mercury over the course of 2 or 3 weeks with high fructose corn syrup, which later on we, kind of hypothesized that this could be from more reactive to stress because having your blood pressure measured via tail cuff can be a little bit stressful for the animal, or maybe just an actual increase in blood pressure. So, something affecting the kidneys with high fructose corn syrup. So it ended up applying dietarily to right what I do today from that nutrition and wellness perspective.
Interesting. Well, wow, I mean, that had that must have been just such a not necessarily like an escape, but just something, because obviously everyone knows, every player that plays in the NFL knows that football's not going to last forever. And, for you to take that step while you were still pursuing that is absolutely fantastic for you. So after your time as a Lion, you spent some time in New Orleans, Arizona, Miami before retiring in 2019. From what we were talking about earlier in this conversation, you're now a certified NFL agent, along with being a nutritionist. First, tell me about being a certified NFL agent and
What's it like?
how did that come to be?
I had an opportunity to join the agent that represented me while I played in his agency. And when I gave it a trial, I really enjoyed the opportunity to use my wisdom experience, right, to take that and give it back to guys so that they could have a career. So that's kind of how it came about. What it's like is it's a lot of fun. Getting clients to work with you can be a bit of a challenge, right? Client acquisition, because it's very competitive. There's a lot of agents out there. But when you find guys that believe in you and want to work with you, that's where it gets really fun. And that's where we really do a lot of good work with guys that believe in what we're doing and want to get better at football and take our mentoring and take our coaching. That's where it's really rewarding and fulfilling.
So, with being an agent and the huge changes that not only the NFL has seen over recent years, but college football landscape has seen in recent years with conference realignment, the transfer portal, and NIL deals, has it made things more difficult for you and your colleagues to represent these players as they come out of college and into the NFL? Or with how everything is currently, do you wish that you had the opportunity that these players had while you were making your way into the NFL?
I think it changes some people's perspective, right? I think a lot of people think because marketing and NIL is really, it comes really easy at the college level that it's going to be even easier at the professional level. And typically that's not the case. Typically marketing is really hard at the NFL level because if you're not one of the top stars, people don't really know you, right? You need to be scoring touchdowns, getting interceptions, doing whatever on Sunday for people to really know who you are. And even then, the NFL is really incentivizing offense, right? Not necessarily defense. Um, so that perspective shift can be hard for some athletes going to the NFL. For me, I definitely wish that this existed mainly because not for any sort of like crazy opportunities, but like I remember there was a place in Brookings, South Dakota called George's Pizza where the offensive linemen went every week, every Wednesday to have dinner together. And they invited one guest to join them a week, and I was invited once a year. I got the invite to George's. It was a great honor, right? As a to be able to get invited and go to George's. And we had to pay for our own meals, right? $13. Because if George's had paid for our meals, then that would have been an NCAA violation and we would have lost our eligibility. So I think that's the stuff that was kind of dumb, right? Like, why couldn't George's Pizza have paid for our meals if they wanted to, right? That was kind of a something that I think I'm glad has changed. In many ways, though, I think NIL has made it a little confusing where um, there's potentially some people now playing football in college that are playing football in college for the money, not necessarily playing football because they love the game. And that's going to make the evaluation process, right, a little bit more. It's another piece to the puzzle now. Evaluators know what someone's going to do when they get money, right? So I think maybe it helps the evaluation process um, for athletes moving forward and also changes the mindset in the game is, are people gonna get lost in that component of the game now and the financial component? Are they gonna still, have love for the game? And I think there's still plenty of players out there, right, that still do love the game of football, right? But there's now that percentage that's going to be exposed maybe a little bit that was maybe in it for the fame or for other reasons.
Yeah, and I believe if you look at just you look at the way that the conferences have been realigned and some of the smaller conferences like the Mid-American Conference, like the Sun Belts, conferences like that, you have, NIL opportunities don't really are not as big as they are in the SEC, the Big Ten, or the Big 12, like you just made a great point of guys still love the game, all those guys playing for those teams and those conferences, really represent that. But you also have players that still love the game and are making money, like Arch Manning at the University of Texas right now, who's going to try and keep the Manning legacy going with quarterback play. But yeah, like you said, it's all on perspective. And do you think with the NIL money being a factor, do you think the transfer portal has also been a negative or a positive in college football today?
I think right now it's a negative because there are no rules, right? So like there's no rules. People can kind of enter the transfer portal whenever. There's no real, you know, there's not a lot of tie downs from a contract perspective, right? Um, at the same time, if you want college athletes to respect their commitments and their contracts or NIL, whatever that looks like, then you need to demand the same of coaches and coaching staffs, right? Like coaches have been able to leave and go to the next school for forever. Also now the players can do it. Now it's a problem. it doesn't make any sense, right? So I think there just needs to be a couple. I would like to see a couple guardrails, and I don't know what exactly those look like, but you know,
That that will be
maybe you have to commit to 2 years, right? Or like something
yeah,
something where it's just not chaotic and college coaches don't need to recruit everyone on the roster and you can actually get development because that's what you worry about as kind of like a dad or as a coach is are people not going to do the hard thing and stay and work and come through the ranks, but instead are people going to just go somewhere else because it's easier.
absolutely. I agree 100%. And finally, Zach, with the Super Bowl 59 now in the review mirror and the offseason approaching, what should not just Detroit fans, but NFL fans look for and get excited about with free agency and the NFL draft that will be held in uh, Green Bay this year? Because last year it was held in Detroit. Now it's in Green Bay this year.
Yeah, I don't know what the free agent class looks like. I mean, there's a lot of good free agents every year, and that's always interesting thing to watch and witness, right? People kind of resetting markets. Like the running backs did really well in free agency this last year, and then they did really well during the season, which was fun to see. I think from a draft perspective, I think there's a lot of talent in on the back half of this year's draft. Uh, not as top heavy. So I feel like last year was a very talented draft, right? I mean, there were a lot of first round players. I don't know if there's as many first or second or third round players, but there are a lot of good fifth, sixth, seventh round type players. So I think that'll be interesting to see who gets pushed up, who gets pushed down. Also, this is a pretty historic in the size. There's a lot of intersecting classes. COVID classes in this draft class, juniors, and true seniors, right? So there's people that ran out of COVID years, true seniors and true juniors that are all intersecting in this one draft class, making it very deep. Again, we talk about fifth, sixth, seventh round type players. So I think it'd just be interesting to see. For fans, then I think what that means is keep a closer eye, maybe than in years past, on some of those undrafted free agents because there could be some really good talent level in those pools.
Well, if like as you know, it doesn't matter if you're the first overall pick, if you're Mr. Irrelevant, or if you go unsigned. As you are firsthand of that, being undrafted and go and signing with Detroit doesn't matter. You could still make an impact on a team and its success, and you are a testament to that, and you are fantastic during your time as a Lion. Um, I for one certainly miss having you around, have being on the team. It was just a lot of fun, like you said, being involved in the community so much. And seeing you pop up on sports stories and having local media cover you and the team doing so many things. It was a pleasure to see that off the field. Pleasure to see you just grind and just for an absolute lightning in a bottle on the field. It was definitely a pleasure and a pleasure having you on. So thank you so much, Zach. It was definitely fun. Hope you had a good time.
Yeah, Aaron, thanks for the conversation today and the support, right? Both during my career and in post career. Fun to get on and talk with people. I think I'll just add here at the end that if anyone listening is interested in getting more energy and improving their body composition, I help people do that every day. I've already had 3 or 4 meetings today with clients that have lost weight, that have more energy, that are more mentally sharp than they've been in the past, and we're doing it in a way that's sustainable and consistent. You could
Awesome.
reach out, yeah, you can reach out and find me reach out on Instagram. I'm active on those socials or zion-performance.com and get on a free call and we can chat about what it looks like to work with me.
All right, you heard the man. If you're interested in your body composition, losing weight, go check Zach Zenner out on his either on his social medias or the website that he just said that will be linked on this video, so you can just click that and head right over to his website. So again, the incredibly talented Zach Zenner. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
Oh, wow, what an amazing story. He just hearing from Zach's perspective on going from being an undrafted free agent, signing with the Lions, competing in a crowded backfield, doing research at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit. That just led him to what he is doing now, not only just being an NFL agent, but being a nutritionist as well. You can check out that link in the description below, so you can connect with Zach on there, and also check out Zach's social medias to connect with him as well. Follow me, and you can also follow me on social media as well at Instagram at Aaron_Gemmel, Instagram for the show, Aaron Gemmel, keeping it fresh on Instagram, and me on Facebook as well. So until then, until we meet again in the next one, as always, keep it fresh.